neque ullus hostis fuit intra Italiam, quia Romanam virtutem magis fatigaveret. Salve, viatores, and welcome back to Let's Translate Eutropius Breviarium Historiae Romanae ab orbe condita. Last time, we saw the beginning of the Samnite Wars. Well, technically, the beginning of the second Samnite War, because Eutropius skips over the first one, and we're going to go straight through the second and the third one, so we're going to be finishing the Samnite Wars today, but that's neither here nor there. It's brevity, so it's going to go quickly. But either way, let us begin with Poste Samnites Romanos Tito Veturio et Spurio Postumio consulibus ingenti de decore recarunt et sub jugum miserunt. So, postea, afterwards. Samnites is our subject, and Romanos is our object. Samnites could technically be nominative or accusative, or subject or direct object, but the Romanos can only be accusative. So clearly the object. Tito Veturio et Spurio Postumio consulibus. We have not seen this for, it feels like it's been a while, but ablative absolute for time when Titus Veturius and Spurius Postumius were consuls, or during the consulship of Titus Veturius and Spurius Postumius. Ingenti de decore. These are both ablative. Ingenti, I think I said last time that Ingenti's weird in how it declines, and so you would expect Ingente, but here it's Ingenti. But Ingenti de decore, with immense dishonor, vicarunt. They conquer, or they defeat. So afterwards, the Samnites defeated the Romans with an immense dishonor during the consulship of Titus Veturius and Spurius Postumius. And sub jugum miserunt. And they sent them, or the Romans, the Samnites sent the Romans, but we don't like always explicitly stating the subject or object when you could just have a pronoun. So they sent them under the yoke. Now, what does that mean? Well, one, this is referencing the Battle of the Caudine Forks. During the Second Punic War, the Samnites tricked the Roman army, the entire army of like 20,000 soldiers, to go into the Caudine Forks, which is like a pass in between some mountains, where there's like very specific entrance and exit, only two ways to get in and out. And the Samnites had them go in there, thinking that the Samnites were on the other side of this pass, had the other side of the pass blockaded, so the Romans were like, okay, I guess we can't go through here, let's go back. And then they find the entire Samnite army waiting for them right there, and the Romans are like, oh crap. And the Samnites have them at their mercy. But instead of slaughtering them to the man, or capturing them and sending them into slavery, they, miserunt sub jugum, sent them under the yoke. This is a punishment that was seen as very demeaning. The yoke is essentially like a sort of spear arch. You've got two spears on either side and a spear right on top of those. And you just have the defeated enemy just walk underneath in a sign of submission. And that's what the Samnites had the Romans do before they released them back to Rome, which, in hindsight, was a terrible idea. Sure, this was a great victory, one without bloodshed, but 20,000 Romans that you could have taken out of the war entirely. But oh well, like I said, hindsight is 20/20, especially considering Rome and the Samnites made a truce, apparently, considering Pax, Pax is peace. So a peace. Tamen a senatu et populo soluta est. Tamen, yet or but, pax, the peace, soluta est, was dissolved, was broken, a senatu et populo, by the Senate and the people. Well, maybe I should have kept those soldiers, Samnites. We've also got quae cum ipsis propter necessitatem facta fuerat. Relative clause given the quae. Relative, and since this is feminine, it has to be referring back to pax. So, the piece, which, cum ipsis propter necessitatem, the piece which was made, cum ipsis, with them. Ipse, a lot of the time with Eutropius, he actually uses it instead of isaid. So, really, this would be eis? One of those. But with them, propter necessitatem. Out of necessity, essentially, or because of necessity. Also, yeah, this is a preposition. There we go. So, yet the piece which was made with them on account of their necessity was dissolved by the Senate and the people, or broken. I'm going to say dissolved, honestly. Postea, afterwards, Samnites victi sunt a Lucio Paperio consule, septem milia eorum sub jugum missa. So, Samnites, still once again our subject, victi sunt. So afterwards, the Samnites were defeated a Lucio Paperio consule by Lucius Papirius, the consul, or by the consul Lucius Papirius, who we saw last time just as dictator rather than a consul. Septem milia eorum sub jugum missa. So we know sub jugum missa, essentially sent under the yoke, 7,000 of them. So 7,000 of them were sent under the yoke. So the Romans just did to the Samnites what the Samnites did to them. Massive dishonor on the Samnite part. Also, turning of fortune. Romans got beaten pretty well. I guess first the Samnites were beaten pretty bad. Then the Romans were beaten pretty bad, and now the Samnites are beaten pretty bad once again. Whole back and forth in this war. So Papirius primus de Samnitibus triumpavit. Papirius primus. Would this be an adverb? No. De Samnitibus triumphavit. So Papirius triumphed first. De Samnitibus. You may recognize de as like de agricultura, on agriculture, but here it's not like on or about, it is actually over. So Papirius triumphed first over the Samnites. Or I think you can also say Papirius was the first to triumph over the Samnites. I think that's what it's essentially saying. Though it is literally Papirius triumphed first over the Samnites. Eo tempore, Appius Claudius censor, aquam Claudiam induxit, et viam Appiam stravit. So, eo tempore, at that time, or at the same time, Appius Claudius, the censor, our subject, aquam Claudiam, our object, given usually when you see a word on an M, that's going to be the accusative, if it is a noun / adjective. Induxit. So at the same time, Appius Claudius, the censor, brought forth, introduced, the Claudian water. And what that really means is he built one of the first aqueducts leading into Rome. So, Claudian water, the water from the Claudian aqueduct coming into the city. Et, this is what he's more famous for nowadays, stravit viam Appiam. He paved the Appian Way, or Appian Road, if you want. So I'm gonna there we go. That's better. So at that time, Appius Claudius the censor introduced the Claudian water and paved the Appian Road. Samnites reparato bello, quintum Fabio maximum vicarunt, tribus millibus hominum occisis. So Samnites, our subject once more, reparato bello, another very small ablative absolute. After they renewed the war, or with the war having been renewed, quintum Fabio maximum, our object, again, that M at the end, vicarunt. So the Samnites defeated Quintus Fabius Maximus. Tribus millibus hominum occisis. This is once again another ablative absolute. With 3,000 hominum of his men, this is genitive plural, so of his men, occisis, killed. So the Samnites, and you can see with ablative absolute how they are absolute. They're technically separate from the rest of the grammar. The basic sentence here is Samnites quintum Fabium maximum vicarunt. The Samnites defeated Quintus Fabius Maximus. But to add a little bit of context for the whole beating of Quintus Fabius Maximus, reparato bello, after they renewed the war, and tribus millibus hominum occisis, with 3,000 of his men killed. It just adds a bit more, but it isn't technically super needed for the sentence to work. Postea cum pater e Fabius Maximus legatus status fueset, et Samnatas vicit et plurima ipsorum oppida cepit. And I just boxed this cum as a conjunction right away because I saw next word was pater. That's not ablative. That is nominative, so that's our subject. Cum is only a preposition when it goes with the ablative case. Otherwise, it is a conjunction. So afterwards, when the father, Fabius Maximus legatus status fueset, conjunction et, so let's leave this for later. The sentence is weird on first glance, because you just see Fabius Maximus legate, or so afterwards when the father was given, and then it's like A is dative to him, but then Fabius Maximus, how is Fabius Maximus coming into this? And a legate? Well, the father of Quintus Fabius Maximus was also named Quintus Fabius Maximus. In fact, this is actually a different Quintus Fabius Maximus from the last chapter. This is Quintus Fabius Maximus Gorges, that we were talking about right now, that was defeated by the Samnites. And the father, Fabius Maximus, in this sentence is Quintus Fabius Maximus Aurelianus from chapter 8. I love so many people having the exact same names in the same family. So really, it's the father, Quintus Fabius Maximus, or Fabius Maximus, was given to him, and it's supposed to be like as a legate, legatus, which is later more of an ambassador, but now it's like a junior commanding officer. So afterwards, when his father, I guess, Fabius Maximus, was given to him as a legate, and he defeated the Samnites, Samnitas Wicked. Oh, wait, no. So, alright, so if we were going to do what I originally started to do there, it doesn't make much sense. Let's continue on assuming with my original translation there. So afterwards, when his father, Fabius Maximus, was given to him as a legate, and he defeated the Samnites, and plurima ipsorum oppida, plurima and oppida agree in gender, number, and case, so plurima is modifying oppida. Cepit is our verb, third person singular, perfect tense, and indicative. Ipsorum is genitive, modifying oppida as well. He captured many of their towns, and once again, ipsorum is being used instead of eorum. So instead of their, I guess, own towns, it's just their towns. Just treat it like iseaid instead of ipse, being like emphatic. So, to translate it how I originally was, afterwards, when his father was given to him, or when his father, Quintus Fabius Maximus, was given to him as a legate, and he defeated the Samnites, and he captured many of their cities. That does not sound good at all. Because what is the when doing there? That doesn't, like, when this, and that doesn't, just saying and continuing to a different point doesn't make sense. But when you have two ets following each other in a sentence, then it's actually both and. Having it follow much better with the cum for when. So afterwards, when his father, Fabius Maximus, was given to him as a legate, he both defeated the Samnites and captured many of their cities. That sounds so much better. Deinde, Publius Cornelius Rufinus, Marcus Curius Dentatus, ambo consules, contra Samnitas missi in gentibus proeliis eos confecere. So then, Publius Cornelius Rufinus, Marcus Curius Dentatus, ambo consules. So then, Publius Cornelius Rufinus and Marcus Curius Dentatus, yeah, you could just insert an and here. The Romans, for some reason, really like to just leave out, like, you know how French has a ton of silent letters? Latin just kind of has a bunch of silent words sometimes. So like here, you don't need the et here. It's implied. But I sure would like it. I like it when things are explicitly stated. But at the very least, when you're used to the Latin, just think of an and here. So then, Publius Cornelius Rufinus and Marcus Curius Dentatus, ambo consules, both consuls, contra Samnitas, against the Samnites, missi, were sent. That's a perfect passive participle. So then, Publius Cornelius Rufinus and Marcus Corius Dentatus, both consuls, were sent against the Samnites. Ingentibus proliis eos confecere. Confecere is an infinitive. So they were sent to finish, essentially finish or end eos, that's our object, them, ingentibus proliis. Both are in the ablative here. Technically, they could be the dative, I think, but they're in the ablative here. In giant battles. So then, after Fabius Maximus did his cool things, then Publius Cornelius Rufinus and Marcus Corius Dentatus, both consuls, or both of the consuls maybe, were sent against the Samnites to finish them in huge battles. Tum bellum cum samnitibus per annos quadraginta noem actum sustulerunt. So tum, then, bellum cum samnitibus. Samnitibus is in the ablative, going with cum, so this is the preposition here. Per annos quadraginta noem, through 49 years. Sustulerunt is our verb. I'm pretty sure, well, no, yeah. Bellum is our object here. Bellum could be the nominative, but with the verb sustulerunt, the nt means it is in the plural. And this is singular, just one war, so it cannot be the subject of this verb. So then, they sustulerunt essentially means like they ended, maybe canceled. I don't know. I'm trying to give it a different translation than confecere, because they're two different words that mean similar things. But I don't want to say finished, because that's what I said for this. So I guess I could use to end them, and then they finished here. I think I'm going to do that. So they finished the war waged. In fact, because actum, I believe, is a participle modifying bellum. Yeah. So they finished the war waged cum samnitibus, with the Samnites, per annos quadraginta noem. Over the course, essentially, or through years 49 years. And this is, in fact, this is the third Samnite War here right now. Where the heck did we get to the third Samnite War? Was it with Publius Cornelius Rufinus and Marcus Corius Dentatus? Is that the third Samnite War? It has to be, I think. I don't know. I haven't studied the Samnite Wars in much depth, so I assume that's the point where Eutropius changes to the third Samnite War instead of the second one. But either way, then they finished the war waged with the Samnites through, or over the course of 49 years. Neque ullus hostis fuit intra Italiam, qui Romanam virtutem magis fatigaveret. And intra Italium's a prepositional phrase. Qui is a relative clause. That's a verb. Fuit, there was. And there was not any. Ullus is any. Hostis. Is that genitive or nominative? It can be both. So I assume, and there was not, because neque is and not, so, and there was not any enemy intra Italiam, within Italy, qui, who, fatigued Romanam virtutem, Roman virtue. Oh wait, other way. Virtutem is the noun. Romanam is the adjective. Roman virtue, more, magis. So, and there was not any enemy. Well, I guess it would more so be this then, right? There we go. And there was not any enemy within Italy who had fatigued, this is pluperfect, had fatigued Roman virtue more. So the Samnites were the most difficult enemy Rome had faced within Italy. And Eutropius covered it in 2 chapters. Neat. I don't know. But of course, Rome will have even greater enemies outside of Italy. But we'll come to that later. For now, let's get to a Latin reading and an English reading. Postea Samnites Romanos Tito Veturio et Spurio Postumio consulibus ingenti dedecore vecarunt et sub iugum miserunt. Pax tamen a senatu et populo soluta est, quae cum ipsis propter necessitatem facta fuerat. Postea Samnites victi sunt a Lucio Paperio consule 7 eorum sub iugum missa. Paperius primus de Samnitibus triumphavet. Eo tempore Appius Claudius censor aquam Claudium induxit, et viam Appiam stravit. Samnites reparato bello, quintum Fabium maximum vicarunt tribus millibus hominum occisis. Postea, cum pater ei Fabius Maximus legatus status fueset, et Samnitas vicit, et plurima ipsorum oppida cepit. Dende, Publius Cornelius Rufinus, Marcus Curius Dentatus, ambo consules, contra Samnitas missi, ingentibus proliis eos confecere. Tum bellum cum Samnitibus per annos quadraginta noam actum sostulerunt, neque ullus hostis fuit intra Italiam, qui Romanam virtutem magis fatigaverit. Afterwards, the Samnites defeated the Romans in a huge disgrace during the consulship of Titus Veturius and Spurius Postumius, and sent them under the yoke. But peace was broken by the Senate and the people, which had been made with them by necessity. Afterwards, the Samnites were defeated by the consul Lucius Papirius. 7,000 of them were sent under the yoke. Papirius triumphed first over the Samnites. At that time, Appius Claudius the censor introduced the Claudian water and paved the Via Appia. The Samnites, after renewing the war, defeated Quintus Fabius Maximus with 3,000 of his men killed. Afterwards, when his father Fabius Maximus had been given to him as a legate, he both defeated the Samnites and captured many of their towns. Then Publius Cornelius Rufinus and Marcus Curius Dentatus, both consuls, were sent against the Samnites to end them in huge battles. Then they finished the war waged for 49 years with the Samnites, and there was not any enemy within Italy who had fatigued Roman virtue more. If you have made it this far, thank you very much for watching. If you have any changes to my translation or corrections to my translation, please feel free to leave them in the comments. Otherwise, I'll see you next time with another friggin' Gallic invasion of Rome. Jeez, these guys just don't give up. But actually, next time is a very short chapter, and we're going to rush through that because I want to get to chapter 11. Because that's where the Romans get to fight someone kind of like Alexander the Great. Valete, viatores.